is it. She's finally done. Complete. Just the way I'd imagined her. I've had this design on my head for a long time. I really wanted to switch her over to blue for a very long time, and I finally had the opportunity to do it. Finances and time. That's all it took. And all the finances. But I'm very happy that it's finally done. Finally complete. I'll probably never throw another penny at her cosmetically other than repairs and maintenance. Very, very beautiful bike. I have a lot of memories on this bike. I've had this bike since 2006. I used to do FMX shows with Rage FMX. My buddy Ricky Pence used to run it before I went to MMI, and she's been a really great bike. We have a lot of memories attached together, attached to each other. She's killed me a few times. I've destroyed her many times. So many times where I've had to replace a lot of stuff. I've broken the triple clamps off of her a couple times. I've had like complete, disastrous fucking repairs, I've had to do to this bike. I can't tell you how many pistons and cylinders I put on this machine. I've ridden the piss out of her. She's fucking rocked my world, and I'll never get rid of her. Got it pulling on the heartstrings, baby. And I guess, I'm gonna thank everybody involved in this as well. All the brands, all the people involved, all the companies. I mean, I could sit out here all day and stare at this bike, and she gets me so fucking hard and moist. Like I said, I am very happy this bike is finally done. Oh, and it's going to be a fun fucking year this year. Well, I guess I'll have to go in to start thanking everybody on this build. I'll have to, I guess, start with my suppliers. Is R&R Motorsports out in Vernal, Utah. They supplied 90% of the parts on the machine for the makeover. Jet Blast Designs out in Vernal, Utah made a few of my custom stickers for me. Motorsport, I go through Motorsport for all my OEM parts. They have great deals. I cannot pass up their deals for OEM parts. I'll always go through them for my OEM. And yeah, after that, I guess I'll have to thank Jimmy John's and Pizza Hut for the late nights, making sure I get fed before I go to bed. Marlboro and Budweiser for keeping the smile on my face as I struggle to get her done. Thank you, Budweiser, very much. I'd also like to thank all the tool companies that I used, which is Craftsman, Mac Tools, Cornwell Tools, SK Tools, Snap-on. I use Motion Pro and Race Tech for all of my very specific tools, like your pullers, suspension tools, stuff like that. I'll always use those guys. I won't use anyone else. Although I do have a Bike Master setup that I use to do the bearings on the swing arm and linkage and stuff like that. Park Tools, I use their tools for, they have a pretty sweet balancer. They don't make it anymore. I'm sorry, it's discontinued, but man is it sweet and nice. And their steering head race remover, I use that as well. It makes it really quick and easy. You just squeeze, set in, just hammer, and the race is out. Makita, I use Makita for all my power tools. I have very specific ones that I picked out just because of the torque settings on the power tools. Like I won't use, I don't need anything extreme for this, maybe the car I do, but that's when the air tools come out. But yeah, I'd like to thank those guys for giving me the means to be able to do what I have done. Really hope I'm not leaving anyone out. Oh, so we'll start with the brands. With the brands, I'd like to just start like right at the beginning. I would like to thank Honda. Honda, you make one hell of a two-stroke. In fact, my favorite two-stroke is Honda, period. I really wish they'd pull their head out of their ass and start reproducing these things. If they'd actually follow through and do the thing they talked about a long time ago where they're going to semi-direct port inject a 250 and a 125, and I think they even mentioned something about them coming with a 300 and 150 kit or something like that. Really wish those guys would do that, but we'll see. We will see. After that, I would like to thank Armor Coatings. Out in Salt Lake City, they did the powder coat job for me. They always do a fantastic job. They've done a couple bikes for me. And I couldn't ask for a better looking bike thanks to those guys. I went with flat black for the swing arm frame, gloss black for the triple clamps, the linkage, or the shock linkage, and and it was a very decent price. Amazing. I'm sure it's much more now because of inflation. Let's go, Brandon. After that, I guess we'll go straight into, like frame up from that. Pivot Works. I use their bearings for everything. I know All Balls owns them now. I just expect the same quality out of Pivot Works as compared to All Balls. I used to run All Balls fork seals, and I go through 2 or 3 a year. And that's bullshit in my opinion. I started running Pivot Works, and I'd have to rebuild my bike twice a year when it comes to fork seals. And this last time I did their bushing kit, the whole complete kit, because it was past due. It's been a long time. I know mine it's still usable, but fuck it. We got the money, let's do it while we got the money. I also use their bearings internally, their bearing kits internally. I think it was, what is it? Is it Hot Rods that makes a bearing kit as well for them? I'm sure if Pivot Works no longer makes the bearing kit for them, I would try Hot Rod's kit out. After that, I guess I'll have to thank Wiseco. I'm running their clutch basket, inner hub, pressure plate, and the pretty sweet clutch cover. I really like to thank those guys for their product. I've had a Wiseco whole clutch build before, and it lasted I'd say about 10 years before I finally destroyed it. And I mean, this was my all-around bike at the time. It wasn't just my FMX bike. I rode her everywhere all the time. And now that I have several bikes, she is purely bred for FMX now. Wiseco again for the piston. I'm running the ProLite Series piston in this bike. It's I'd like to try the Racer Elite, but with this new build, I kind of want to still run the ProLite piston. Just for rigidity. I want to get away from replacing my piston rings 2 to 3 times a year, and just like 1 time a year at the end of season would be nice. If this power plant holds out and I pull the piston rings off, set them in the bore, and the piston rings are still really good, I think I will try Racer Elite. Stay tuned for that, I guess. After that, I guess I'll have to thank Bolt. Bolt's engine dress kit, Bolt's plastic dress kit. I mean, they come with everything you need and more, and you'll always have extras because they make them for a very wide range of CRs. And I'm sure it's the same way with every brand. So, very nice kit. I wouldn't recommend anybody else. Anytime I do a build for anybody, I always recommend them. Just go ahead and replace your bolts, man. Most times when you pull it apart, they're corroded anyways. Just go ahead and replace your bolts. It's like $20 for an engine kit, $20 for a plastics kit. No big deal. After that, I guess I'll have to move on to fat head racing. I ran fat head cylinder heads on my 125. Um, so I went to them. They'll work with you. They can, and they're not extremely outrageously priced either. They're moderately priced. They can make a custom combustion chamber for you. If you want a specific CCs, they can do that for you, and they will do it. And they offer, if you want to buy more than one dome, you can always go buy another dome. So if your needle bearing ever goes out on your piston and destroys your cylinder head, you can just replace the dome and be done with it. And they run their own special O-ring kits that you should probably stock up on. I did when I bought this one. After that, Boyson. I'm running the Boyson rad valves on this bike. I wanted them for a torquey bottom end, you know, just a little bit more on the bottom end, you know, to make up, not to make up, but to add more to what my expansion chamber is doing for me. With this new change in my duration, I went from cutting my cylinder ports, widening them, lengthening my transfer ports, to just a simple, thicker base gasket. And we're going to see how long this lasts, how well it holds up. In fact, I should probably think, what was it, Gaskets America, or United Gaskets, or something like that. They're based out of Florida, veteran owned. They made this custom copper gasket for me. It actually seals up and holds up better than the fabric gasket so far. Through the heat cycles, usually I have to go back with a fabric gasket, especially if I'm double stacking them, and go back and retighten them, and I constantly have to do that. After a couple heat cycles on the bike, and my heat cycles are not nice. They're not. If you're going to detonate, you're going to detonate, and I'm going to make you detonate. If you don't detonate, fantastic. We're going to have a good time. But it's held up. No coolant leaks. Nothing getting by. Good gasket. Very good gasket. But back to Boyson. I run them on pretty much all my two-strokes. When I do redo my 125, I might be switching to B-Force just because I'm going to be building it for motocross, supercross, and I want it to, you know, just have a really mean top end. We'll get to that later. But Boyson, I'm running that along with their ignition clutch cover. Looks fantastic. Matches the black bike. Oh god, she's fucking sexy. But anyways, after that, I guess we're gonna thank Uni air filters. I love their dual stage air filters. I love the fact that your actual main primary air filter doesn't take on oil. It's the outer filter that takes on oil, so your inner one does nothing but breathe, and your outer one catches all the dust and dirt. Holy shit. Let's have another. Catches all the dust and dirt. Very easy to clean, even though it's two of them. Yeah, Uni, good air filter. I'd like to thank my Cooney as well now, because this is kind of a long one. I run the Cooney TMX carb. I have the one step up from original stock. That was because of my tuned ports before. Now that I'm onto this one, it's pretty close to the same tuning. Pilot jet is a little different, and I'm sure as soon as it gets warm, I'm going to be changing my main jet again. And probably the jet needle. I bet you I'm going to have to, you know, just step it up one. Everyone will talk trash on my Cooney, but if you don't know jetting, you don't know how to listen for jetting, you don't even know what RPM you're at when you're doing your idle screw. If you don't have that experience, then you're probably going to be one of those guys that just gets Electron. And I have no respect for Electron. You will not get a fine tune on your fuel metering system with electron carb. My Kuni has always been my go-to on all my machines. I swapped the one out on my 125 for a TMX as well. I couldn't thank my Kuni enough. And if you're ever to buy one of their books, they actually go over it with you on exactly what to look for, how to do things, starting from the ground up. And you never start jetting your bike on the main jet. You always start with your idle jet. Or in Honda's case, the pilot jet is what they call it. You start there. Mess with your air fuel screw, and then you go on from that. You're off into past quarter throttle, and then your jet needle jet at that point. And then you get that tuned out correctly, and then after that is main jet. And if you have a starter jet, that's, that doesn't change. Just leave that one in there. Air jets for your air bleeds, you'll probably change here and there. I believe I've changed mine out when I did the other cylinder tune. After that, I will have to thank a CV4 radiator hoses. Real nice radiator hoses. One complaint, they don't come with new hose clamps. I'd pay an extra $20 for some new hose clamps that comes with my radiator hoses. I would. Keep that in mind, CV4. I guess after that, engine ice. I love engine ice. I run it in all my machines. Before I switched to engine ice, just to see what they were about, when I was working at the first shop I was working at, I rode the bike around quite a bit and then come back to the truck and immediately put a temp gun on the cylinder head. And all the times I did it, I was averaging about 212 degrees. There was a time I was up there at 217, but most of the time it was 212, 208 to 212-ish. And then after I switched to engine ice, I could do the same thing, but I was averaging at about 200 degrees. 198 was actually very common. Go out for a rip, come back to the truck, immediately hit it with a temp gun. Couldn't believe the difference. And for a two-stroke, with heat being your enemy, that is a big deal. That'll keep your top RPMs there a lot longer. And combined with that and my new cylinder head, which packs a lot more coolant on top of my combustion chamber, I'm hoping to be able to keep that top end while still gaining a huge and massive power band from about, half throttle on with a very torquey quarter throttle on. Very torquey, I hope. Mathematically it should, but that's not how reality works. After that, I guess we'll have to move on to, the accessories. We'll start with the suspension system, actually. Race Tech. I love Race Tech. I'll never recommend anyone else. I was young and dumb when I was in my early 20s and did a Works Connection build, and I severely regret it. Race Tech is the only one that really cares about you. In fact, you can buy a book that will help you fully understand suspension systems and what it's about, what you're looking for, what you need to do to build a suspension system for a certain activity that you're going to be doing with the bike. They offer something called the Suspension Bible. I recommend you get that, you read that, understand what they're talking about, and at one point in time or another, you should do all the math yourself so you understand what is going on. But if you don't have time, you can always get on their website, and they have a massive cheat sheet on their website. You just put in your weight, your height, if you have an oversized tank, anything applicable to the bike, what you're using the bike for, year, make, model, and they'll give you exactly the fork springs and rear shock spring that you will need to build the perfect machine, suspension-wise. And also I'd like to thank Motion Pro. I'm running their little fork bleeders. They're throttle cable, clutch cable. I always run Motion Pro. I love Motion Pro. Always have. Very decent price for probably the best product, in my opinion. And it's probably not an opinion, really. It is the best product. These cables I've had for a very long time now. They've tested through the ages. So long as you keep lubing them, they're going to last forever. You know. I guess after that, we could go into Flow Motorsports. I'm running their levers. I did the whole clutch setup that they offer for the 2 4-strokes with no hot start. Fantastic setup, easy adjust. Everything is bright and vibrant, very beautiful. I love their little guards too. I'm also running their foot pegs. Flow Motorsports makes a great product, and if you're wondering how I got a blue front brake lever for the Honda, Yamaha and Honda are running the same master cylinder in this day and age. You can just pick your color at that point. You can even run Cowies and Suzuki's back then. Everyone ran Nissan back then for their master cylinders and their calipers. After that, I guess I'll have to go right into thanking DRC. They offer a rebuild kit for your foot pegs. Unfortunately, I was unable to use the spring, which is fine. They're brand new foot pegs, and they come with their springs. Flow Motorsports makes a very, very nice product. I do not like how quickly it fades, though. It went from a very nice vibrant blue to a baby blue very quickly, but it still looks really good. After that, I guess we'll think KKE. I was very hesitant to try these wheels. Very hesitant. I was saving up the money for some W's, and I seen these guys, and back when I bought them, the American dollar is still worth very much more than the Canadian dollar, and it really feels like some Canucks got a hold of a few CNC machines and just having a great time. So I'm running their wheels. I did have to do the spoke stretch myself. You spend pretty much a weekend doing this, and then after that, probably once a month, you check your spoke tension, and they've been dead on. And I've sent this bike off some really big fucking hits, and they have absorbed some really rough landings, and they're still straight. No tacos, no wobble or anything like that. They make a great product, but like I said, you do have to keep an eye on the spokes. I'm also running KKE's gas cap and sprocket cover. Like I said, I think some Canucks just got a hold of some CNC machines, and they're just having a good time, eh? After that, I guess I'll go into a Pico. A Pico out of the UK. They made this brake lever for me. I had to buy the tip separately to get the blue. And then M46 out of France. They built my RC valve cover for me, or made my RC valve cover for me. Black with the white RC valve. They offered an option to do a custom deal that was supposed to say BRAP, but apparently they can't do a custom thing anymore. They can only do RC valve, which is kind of weird to me that that's not something that they can do. AS3 Productions, their Kickstarter, I got theirs, or products, AS3 Products. Try saying that 5 times fast. And then after that, I'd like to thank Works Connection. They made pretty much all the blue accessories for my bike. My reservoir covers, my rotating bar clamp, axle blocks. I went with their aluminum caliper guard. I have their fill plug. I have a lot of their products on this bike. W, I felt bad I didn't buy their product, so I got the wheel dress kit from W. And after that, for the blue accessories, when I ran out of Works Connections applications for blue, I moved to Zeta. Zeta covered the rest. They did the axle nuts, the brake line clamp up front, the rear brake clevis. I have that product there. After that, I'll have to thank Core MX for the blue brake lines. They have many different colors to pick from, all variations of the rainbow and lots of things in between. And I love them. They've held up. They do a great job. And one small shout out to Ride Inc. for the brake line guide. I prefer the number plate mounted one. I don't know why. I think it just looks better. Plus it gives it a lot more room to move as your suspension compresses. I don't even know if these guys are a company anymore. I've had that forever, since I did the Metal Militia build on this thing, or cosmetic build on this thing. After that, let's see here. Who are we forgetting? EBC. EBC, I'm running their DRC clutch pack in this bike. I love EBC's clutches. I've always ran them. They last a very long time. They pretty much make it a whole season, man. If you're not racing them all the time, of course. You probably rebuild it 2 or 3, 4 times during a race season just to have that extra grip and make sure you have it. I'm also running their contoured brake rotors, brake pads. I love EBC. They always make a great product. They always have. And then after that, I guess we'll have to thank IMS. I'm running their shift lever only because they're the only one that makes one for this bike anymore. It would have been cool to have a blue tip for my shift lever, IMS. After that, I'll have to thank EK chains. I decided to go with EK simply because they had a high tensile strength pre-stretched chain that came in blue, and I've always been a DID guy, but I can't wait to try out this EK chain. Oh my god, dude, have another. So I'm going to be trying them out. Next, right after that, I'll have to thank Pro Taper. I'm running their race spec sprockets. I'm running 1448 just because I want that extra top speed from whenever I'm out at the dunes, Swing Arm City, stuff like that. And my power plant hopefully will get me there very quickly, which I won't doubt. Speaking of which, I'm going to have to cut Pro Taper off here because I forgot someone. FMF, I am running their SST with a shorty silencer. Everyone complains about the SST, but like I said before, if you do not know how to jet your bike or what to look for or listen for, you're just slapping parts on it hoping for the best at that point. You must understand what you're doing. If you buy a repair manual for your bike, it'll pretty much talk you through it. Not an owner's manual, repair manual. After that, we'll go back to Pro Taper. I'm running Pro Taper's Twitch FMX bend. I'm pretty sure they don't make these anymore. I've cut them down 1 inch on each side for the bar tricks. Very great product from Pro Taper. I've always ran their pillow tops when they first come out. I just love the pillow top feel. I'm also running, I guess, the Factory FX grip donuts because I hate getting those blisters on the inside of your thumbs. It sucks when you go to work and you have to wear rubber gloves all day. It's just terrible. It sucks. Motion Pro again for the throttle housing. I'm not even sure if they make these anymore. The last time I checked, they were discontinuing their ATV conversions, so I'm pretty sure this might be a dying thing. But it's very crisp, easy to lubricate. You just pop the caps off the top, or pop the cap off the top, put your dilithium grease in there, golden. Pro Taper also for the bar pad. Hopefully you save my teeth this year. What next? Oh, Fly Racing. I'm running Fly Racing's Kill Switch. I have the, I wanted just the single bolt one to go on the side of the grip, but they're back ordered. They've been back ordered for a very long time now. So as a last minute resort, I just got the clamp style one that replaces the clamp on the end of your clutch perch, which I'm worried about because when I do my cliffhangers, I might kill my bike, and that would be very bad. I don't want that to happen, so I'm hoping the other kill switch comes off back order, fly, and gets here in time for this next season. After that, I guess we'll have to take one last walk around the bike real quick before I do the last final, guys. Oh, flow hoses. I'm running the blue flow hose kit on the carburetor. Free flow hoses. Yes, I'm running that on my carburetor. Looks fantastic. They're not fading at all either, and I've had that on the bike for probably 2 years now. And then I guess we go right on to the big guys, or I guess like the big show, or the most obvious of all. I would really like to thank Polysport. Polysport, your restyle kit for this bike is beautiful. Looks like, you know, I spent some big coin stuffing a 2-stroke engine and a 4-stroke. Everything lines up, everything bolts right up, everything is fantastic and easy. I'm not going to worry about that. I decided to go with white. I was going to do black, but I thought that would be, you know, too much black for what I had in mind, and I'm really glad that I chose white. It looks fantastic. I love how it pops out, stands out on top of everything else except for the pipe. After that, big shout out to Split Designs Co. Love you guys. You guys do a fantastic job. I was very picky. Very, very picky, and these guys worked with me. They did everything I wanted them to do. This original graphics kit was supposed to be red, white, and blue. I had them change it into what it is now, which is white, black, and blue. And they threw on all my custom stuff, my Petty Power Sports, Two Fiddy. I mean, they only charge you $5 for some nameplates to go with it, which I have on my box and on my vehicle. You can do a lot of customization. They even offer or make an option for you where you can do a complete custom kit. And the great thing about these guys too is if you ever eat shit hard enough where you fucking destroy something and you're like, God damn it, I need a new rear fender or radiator shroud or side panel, they keep your kits on file so you can go right in and pay, you know, $20 for a new front fender sticker, $20 for a new rear fender sticker, $60 for a radiator shroud. And you don't have to buy both. You can just buy the one. Fantastic company. Love you guys. Good job. Thank you for working with me. Thank you for putting up with my bullshit. And also their little sister company, Thrill Seekers, did the seat cover for me. I let them know that I have a shaved seat is much lower. I need a little extra material at each end to put everything into place, and they pulled through. They did exactly what I needed. I was not thinking all the way through though, and I got a rib setup seat on an FMX bike when I should have not done ribs and just done the black sides with the blue center, and I think that would have looked a little bit better. But now that she's all complete, I'm glad I went with the ribs, because it's just a little bit of extra blue on top of that black, and that's all you need. And, you know, I think that's, oh, I'm sorry, Maxxis. Maxxis, I am sorry. I love your tires. I run the Desert ITs on these. I can session a ramp a whole year long, and I'll go through one rear tire, and I'll just replace the front just cuz. I run the IRC heavy-duty tubes with the Motion Pro bead locks. I don't replace tubes. I don't. When I replace tire, I replace tube, but that's it. They all hold up. They do a fantastic job. Maxxis, don't stop the good work. Keep it up. After that, I'm pretty sure that's it. I think that's it. I could thank Showa for the suspension system. But I do remember a time, and I do have a bike, where a Honda-owned company was not put on their Hondas. I don't know what's going on with Showa, but there for a short while, KYB was on Hondas. Let's take one last walk around. Oh, the last one. This is the one I'm forgetting. TM Design Works. It costs a little extra for their product. I run their chain rollers, chain slider, chain guide. But their product stands up, lasts the test of time. The slider has lasted for a long time now. Usually, before I would just be a cheap ass and buy an Acrobus slider, and Acrobus would only make it about a year before I started to worry about it getting close to the swing arm, and I just replace it when I re-greased or replaced my swing arm and linkage bearings. TM Design Works though, I think we're on the third year on this setup. I'm pretty sure I'm on the third year on this slider, and I think it might make it through next year. I don't know. We'll see. But, I mean, if you pay double the price, you still save in the end with them. The chain rollers are beautiful. They came in blue. The chain guide I could only get in black for this bike. I really wish I could have got blue because I think that would have popped better with my black sprocket. But still, the guide is fantastic. It's held up so far. I ran it all year last year. It's doing a great job. It's holding up very well. And it did take me like a year and 4 months to get this bike done. Not just because of finances, but because of things being on back order. You know, other than that, it was a real, like I said, a real fun project. I'm really glad I got her done. Thank you to everyone involved. And now, I guess I have to thank a few more people. I don't have to, I need to, I want to. I would love to thank my father, Grant Petty. If it was not for him, I wouldn't be doing this. That's for goddamn sure. I would have never had a dirt bike if it wasn't for him. He's the one who got me into it. He's the one who taught me, you know, pretty much most of what I know now. Just don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Don't sit there and go to forums and ask for them. Refer to your repair manual first, man. But yeah, he's always supported me. He funded a lot of my 125 when I first started riding. Pretty much all of it when I first started riding. He's taken really good care of me. He's supported me through all of my difficult times. I ended up in a hospital for a whole week one time, and he was there at my bedside every day. I love you, Dad. I love you very much. After that, I'll have to thank my my late grandmother, Catherine Petty. She also supported me, even though she didn't like me doing this. I know she watches over me today, and has for a long time. I know you are my butterfly. I know you are my shield. I love you, Grandma. And last, but very not least, I would like to I would love to dedicate this build and this bike to my younger brother Miles Olson. You will always be missed. You will forever be loved. Rest easy, brother. We will see you soon.